All right. Uh, so we're going to try to make this quick, but they ask us to just share a little bit more about our story. So I'm going to make it as, try to not repeat too much of what was on there, but, um, and we're happy to be able to share our story and how God came through for us. And we just want to give God the credit and also so many people who gave to us generously and pure gift of God. So I hope that comes through. Um, Going into adoption and especially international adoption, we had some fears, and those were like number one, money. We knew we didn't have it enough for it, and so we didn't know how we would get it, but we just trusted God that we'll take a step forward and see what happens. And um, another fear we had was safety and health. Being in Uganda, we had never been there before, so we didn't know it was a safe country. We had heard that it was, but um, and also like health, if we got sick there or the kids, what kind of a hospital would they have? And so those were real fears. And another thing was how ethical the adoption would be. Read a lot of things online and just a lot of shady things that go on around the world in the name of adoption. And so we were concerned about that. And another thing was when we got Juma, how would he fit into our family? Want to be with us, and would he fit in with us and the kids? And so these were things that we were really concerned about, and we just decided we're going to pray every day about these things. And as you'll see, God answered each of these concerns, and as we went on this journey.
Um, to the first thing to the money, we when we started the actual adoption process, our youngest was, or when we decided we wanted to, 3 months, I think. So I had 4 and 4 years, and so my life was really busy, and I was imagining all this fundraising and stuff, and I just didn't feel like I had the energy to do it. And so I prayed this prayer. I was like, God, I really want to do this, but I just don't feel like I have the energy to do fundraisers. And so we started borrowing, or where you borrow against what you have in your house. And so we started the process of that, and it took forever. Like, the lady at the bank was like, we do not know what's going on. They had to like come appraise our house a couple of times, and paperwork got lost and all this stuff. But anyways, in the meantime, we found out that we had actually that someone had passed, a distant relative had passed away, and that we were in the will, and we were like so shocked. And then we found out that it was, well, we thought initially it would be plenty to cover our whole adoption. And so we quit the refinancing or whatever it's called, and we felt like that was like pretty cool that God flowed that. We felt like God tripped that up, so that because he was like, I'm going to provide it for you. And also, Pure Gift of God contacted us and said they wanted to support us. And we're like, when does that happen, that someone contacts you and says they want to help you? Also, other people gave, and in the end, I didn't end up doing a single fundraiser, and our thing was paid. So that was a huge answer to prayer. Um, Another thing was the kids. When we chose Uganda, it was 2 short trips, and so we're like, oh, we can do that. My sister said she'd watch the kids, and it ended up, long story, but our adoption took forever. And by the time that we traveled, my sister had a 1 year old and was almost due to have twins. And so we were like, we can't leave them. And so we ended up thinking, well, what if we took our kids with us? So we started praying about it because we knew we'd have to take somebody with us, because just they were so young, and just thought it would be too hard. So we had nobody that could go with us, but we just started praying, God, this is what we feel, and bring the right person in. And my mom actually called me and was like, hey, I found the perfect person to go with you to Uganda. And I already asked her, and she said yes. And we were like, okay. So that was pretty cool. We had her come babysit for a little bit, and she was perfect. And she ended up being able to come for 8 weeks of the trip. And my parents paid for her ticket and everything. So that was pretty cool.
Which, if you have the pictures, that in the first picture, let's see, um,
That's Hannah on
in
the
the
left.
red there.
Yeah, she was a godsend. I miss her. She moved to Tennessee, but um, okay.
So it was last May when we arrived in Uganda, so a little over a year ago. And like you said in the video, first day we got there, we went and met Juma, and we didn't know what to expect. And he came and sat right on Kristi's lap, and he didn't know any English, but they had explained to him what would happen, that we would be his new parents, and all the kids at the orphanage, like, wanted a family to come get them so bad. And like another family that was there with us, they were adopting a 9-year-old girl, and the story is so cool. She had given up hope that somebody would ever get her, but they did, and so it was just cool that the kids wanted to have a family. Um, but so that was just an answer to prayer, like I said, that he would want to be with us.
And when we got to Uganda, like pretty much nothing went smooth. Like we went to court, the judge didn't show up, and we had to go back again, which that worked out then. Our passport, which they said would take 4 days if it went good, 7 was longer, ended up taking 3 weeks. And then our
Should we have a picture of that if you want? When he did finally get the passport,
that was like a huge deal.
it was such a good day.
But and then oh yeah, and then the visa system shut down like worldwide, so nobody could get a visa to go home. So Juma couldn't have gone home. And then we also started hearing rumors of people like at the last stage, you have to go to the embassy to get the visa to come home. Because there was so much corruption going on, they were like get interviewed. Sometimes if you have living family members, they have to come. And if there was anything that looked at all fishy, even if it wasn't, they would investigate you. And it would take, like the shortest would be like a month, and it could take like, I think we had heard a story, it took like 2 years or something like that. And so we were getting really nervous as we were coming up on our embassy appointment, because we were like, everything has been a problem, so surely we're going to have a problem here at the end. And we got to the embassy, and the family member that showed up, she had an ID that the guy interviewing us thought was fraudulent. So he basically said no, and not to come back unless she has a national ID. So we left pretty brokenhearted, and then we talked to our lawyer, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, the national ID is like impossible to get. I've been trying for 3 years to get one," and she was a lawyer, and one of the few like pretty rich people there, and so she was like, "Let's just try something else. We'll just shoot for it or whatever," and then. So we went and we got all these supporting paperworks proving that she was who she was. And we made another appointment, and we just prayed, and we were scared to death. And people back at home, we had a group that we were keeping people updated on. They did like a prayer schedule where they prayed for us for 24 hours up until our appointment, which was pretty cool. People stayed up all night and prayed for us. And we went to the second appointment, and we walked in, and we gave him all the papers, and he said no at first. And we were like, so we started kind of begging and saying it's impossible to get a national ID and all this stuff. And he was like, and he went back and he talked to somebody. He came back and I was like, okay. And we were just like, oh, we couldn't even believe it. It was a miracle for sure. I still can't believe it. Almost a year later that we are home and he is home.
Yeah. So once we got the okay to get the visa and to come home, right before we left, we got to go to the village where he was from. That's the last picture. And that was an answer to prayer because like the whole ethical side of it, like family members not understanding what was going on and, being tricked and stuff. And just being able to, through translator, talk to the people at the village, and they all understood what was happening, and they were so excited for him to come live with us. And so that was a huge blessing and an answer to prayer. And we got home last July 26th, and like we said, the trip ended up being 11 weeks. And I had told I work at Provia just up the road, that it would be maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and I was being optimistic. And it's gone for 11, and they were so gracious to let me go that long. And other employees there donated vacation time to me, 3.5 weeks, in addition to what I had been saving up. And that was awesome, right at a time when we really needed it. And also another coworker started a GoFundMe account, which is where you can go online and donate to us. And people donated $8,000, and that just was such a blessing. Um, and other answer to a prayer, we met a young doctor there named Timothy and became good friends with him. And so whenever we did have bumps and bruises, we had some fevers, and a couple kids had some boils that we were a little worried about. And one of our girls fell and busted her chin open pretty good and had to get stitches at an ER. But it all went okay. And God took care of us. And so since we've been home,
Juma has done just like amazing. He has gained 5 pounds, grown 3 inches, had 2 surgeries, minor surgeries, learned to ride a bike. He loves American food, which he did not like but pretty much anything when we got back here. Completely learned English. Actually, by the time we got home from Uganda, he pretty much knew English, and our social worker was just amazed. She's like, I have never in my life seen any child that has fit in so well with a family and learn English so quickly. He can swim, and there's all kinds of things I could say. Which I think the cool thing about adoption is that, like, we initially went into it just because we wanted another child, and we wanted Mac to have a brother, and I didn't anticipate how much it would grow and change us, and and stretch us in a lot of ways. I mean, it's just it's definitely not all like rainbows and butterflies or whatever, but it's been good for us. And it was just being in Uganda was just like such a special time for our family, and I just feel like it was like a parenthesis in our life, and I'll always cherish it. We miss Uganda. We want to go back, and yeah, I'm just so thankful that I get to be his mom. I feel like I always look at him and I just think like I don't even deserve him. Like he's just the greatest kid, and yeah, so go ahead.
so just want to close with saying thank you so much for supporting us. And like Kurt said, I know, how runners are. You'll just, hey, there's something, I'll run for that. But we want to let you know what it is that you are helping to support. And the money that you raise or the money that you donate, it changes the life of a kid, and it changes the life of the family that the kid goes to. And so we're just forever thankful and grateful for people's generosity, for pure gift of God, and for everything that it's done for us. So thank you.